people walking around.
I'm not gonna lie, I mean, I've crossed through the park to get onto Piermont Ave. I'm not gonna pretend like I haven't, but I don't have an e-bike. I have a regular.
I think, well, and the e-bike, the thing about e-bikes versus like motorbikes is the sound is different. They don't generally go as fast. But I agree that, I mean, it's tough. I've read, I mean, I ride bikes and e-bikes, and you'll go occasionally to a trail and you'll say you can ride your e-bike on level 1 or 2, but not level 3. And there's literally no way to tell whether someone's on level 2 or level 3, meaning that they're in pedal assist or they're in full mechanized operation. But I think there's an issue of noise, there's an issue of speed, damage, things like that. So let's get some legislation up and running on it.
And to be clear, I don't have an issue with dirt bikes. I do think that's fair. Dirt bikes are very akin to motorcycles or scooters at that point. So I do, well, not pedal scooters, but like a Vespa or something. So like I do agree with not having that a lot in the park, but I do want to we might want to clarify the difference between that and that.
Yeah.
And I would suggest that, at least across the bridge, that try to limit it completely, even to bicycles. As I said, I ride all over this area. I wouldn't say that I would never do it, but certainly during the day when there's toddlers and younger children with their parents, they really shouldn't have to negotiate with them.
All right, thank you. Thank you for bringing this up. Sure, it's good topic, good thing for us to fix. All right, anybody else have public comments on an issue that's not on our agenda tonight? Seeing none, we have a presentation from Matt Shearing. Oh, it's you.
Yes.
From Bill Batson.
Well, yeah.
All right, good. We have the business, the Chamber of Commerce has a presentation on street fairs and some other issues that they want to make. So why don't you guys go ahead, and then we'll get to the public hearings.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Bill Batson. I'm the Executive Director of the Nyack Chamber of Commerce. I'm joined tonight by several board members. Jack Donegan, Brownstein, Terry Clark. The survey that we are submitting tonight was created.
Bill, speak into the microphone.
Was created and executed. There we go. Bingo. The survey that we are submitting tonight was created and executed by the local marketing and research firm Share Strategy, which is owned and operated by Matt Shearing, in concert with business students from Dominican University, where Matt is a faculty member. The interviews were conducted at the July and September street fairs and on the phone through personal interviews. 50 business owners, 50 street fair visitors, and 50 street fair vendors participated, as well as 6 municipalities for a kind of best practices peer review. This study was commissioned by the Nyack Chamber of Commerce and disseminated through a dialogue with the Village of Nyack and Visit Nyack. We thank Mayor Rand and Administrator Stewart for their collaboration. For context, the Nyack Chamber of Commerce is a 68-year-old commercial and civic organization with currently over 100 members. And as I said, some of our board members are here tonight. We organize Septemberfest and the Spring Fest Street Fairs. And I would note that we partnered this year with the Village to present Keys to the Village to the international rock band Coheed Cambria. And next year, actually thanks to Commonwealth's suggestion, Pedro Capo, who's an internationally famous Latin American music performer, who's got to start working and performing at CASA, will be offered with your cooperation, Keys. The Chamber also manages our village's 30-year-old outdoor year-round farmers market, where we used it as a collection site for families from Nyack Plaza. We do the exotic car night. This year we did it with Montefiore Nyack to promote breast health awareness. We have a nationally recognized Halloween parade. We do holiday lights events and member socials like last night's at Louis Next Door. We also, along with ACADA, which is the Arts, Crafts, and Antique Dealers Association, Montefiore Nyack, and the Friends of Nyack, created and funded Visit Nyack. So that's the who and the what. So now the why. Why are we here? It is commonly known that Visit Nyack was created by the Chamber and others to address an imbalance. The population of Nyack cannot support the 120 restaurants and retail businesses that form our vibrant downtown commercial district and the many cultural organizations, and I would add nonprofits, that also thrive here. So we have embarked on a methodical, an interview-driven process to discover how best to meet the evolving needs of the local businesses in a manner that is equitable, efficient, and effective. Toward that end, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Nyack Chamber of Commerce Board Member Mark Brownstein, who will review a deck of slides.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, board. It's a pleasure to be here. Just a little bit of background. I've been in Nyack for 35 years. I own my own Medicare business in this town. I love this town. I have no possibility of leaving this town. So what I'm saying today is really about the collaboration and the enthusiasm that I have for this community. And I do believe that there's a lot of opportunity that comes out of the survey. I also know that Matt Shearing and I go back about a dozen years. So I've known Matt through many different scenarios. He's a true professional. And what he put together here, he really did go beyond the call of duty. And so I'm going to try and go through a presentation fairly quickly. But I'm also on the board of the Rivertown Film. I'm involved in this in Nyack, and I'm deeply committed to this community. I live in this town. I've lived here for 35 years. I have a 23-year-old son, but I believe that education is the key. And I believe that all of us to be educated about what this community has as an opportunity and what we do as a street fair and the chamber is really what I'm trying to sort of express here. So what I want to talk about at a macro level is that street fairs in general have become very popular around the country. So if you look at street fairs in general, 25 million visitors across this country, annual attendance is about 12,500 people. It's a lot of people. But there are large festivals, there are medium-sized festivals, and there are small festivals. So there's a lot of activity around festivals that are going on. But there are growth trends. So it creates about $4 billion worth of revenue. And it's an increase over the last 5 years, certainly since COVID. It's increased a lot. The challenge is that some of these are actually have a community focus based on specific niches. So whether it be an Asian market or a pop-up market, the focus of these street fairs or these fairs are really very broad in its approach. But there are lots of street fairs around the country, but New York, California, Florida, and Illinois really have the largest number of fairs in this country. That's really where the focus is. People spend about $50 on the average when they go to these street fairs. That's what they spend. But the community interest is strong. There's generally a strong involvement and inclusion, and people like to have these events because it does bring in people into the community. So these are the communities that we actually spoke to try and get some feedback on what's going on around the area that are not just us. Because we wanted to get some information that was really helpful from these communities that you see around New York and New Jersey. So what they found is that many retailers reported an increase of foot traffic and appreciate the promotion that goes on in the community that they live. But there's mixed feelings and concerns about it. Some businesses express that they're not coming into the stores, they're not making purchases, while others are concerned about disruptions around parking and access. But there are suggestions for improvement. And I think that that's one of the takeaways that I want to sort of create here, is that everything can create improvement. Everything is an idea for the future. And there are marketing efforts, promotional efforts to increase the activity for the downtown businesses, whether it be retail or restaurants, or just generally the love of Nyack. People do love Nyack. So again, these communities have said a number of things. The curation of the vendors is important. The experience of these folks are to have good planning take place. What are the vendors that people are looking for? What kind of social media is taking place? But invest in this to get even better turnout. We've got great turnout in these street fairs, but the vendors need to be balanced. And that's really, again, this is not from our street fair feedback. This is from feedback from other communities around the area. But partnering with other parts of the community. There's so many nonprofits in this community. We can partner with so many different organizations that actually can bring people into this community. We all have our databases. We all have our lists. We can bring more and more people into this area. But also they speak of family-friendly programs. programs that can create a family environment, an opportunity to really bring these people into the community for a balance. So where do people actually come from? People come from Nyack, they come from Rockland County, they come from Westchester. There's a huge percentage of people that are coming locally. So they are coming locally and they are coming. But interestingly enough, 32% of the people actually came for the first time to the Fed. So there's a constant renewal of new people. Whatever promotion we're doing is working.
Mark?
People, yes,
Was this visitor survey, was it, which street fair was it done for? Was it done for multiple or was there one particular street fair?
two street
Two
fairs,
street fairs, which ones?
July and September. July and September, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So overwhelmingly positive. Would you recommend it to a friend? Absolutely, no question. The mix of vendors, 46% like the mix of vendors. I think we can continue to improve the mix of vendors in a big way, but that is feedback. Right? Why are they coming? What's their participation? Right? 69% restaurants and shops, farmers market. Why are they coming to Nyack? You can see all the things that are listed here are reasons why people come to Nyack. Nyack is still a hub of Rockland County. People come from all over. I was just in the parking lot. People were coming. They're talking about the street fair. They go to Tarrytown. This year they're coming to Nyack. There's a lot of emphasis. People all over this country actually have heard about Nyack. I'm amazed at the traveling that I do. But in terms of promotion, not surprising that social media is a big area for that, right? But it's still word of mouth. There's outdoor ads. There's street banners. Social media really does bring it in. I'm not huge on social media, but I know I'm missing out. There's no question.
Well, you're not missing out. No, you're just fine. Your life is better.
Yeah, I think so.
Your air is sweeter.
So again, how much do they spend? I think this is a key component. Because when people come to the street fair, the vendors that are here, the store owners that are here, we want people to spend money here, but they actually do spend money here. And they actually are willing to spend $50, $100 or more on the street fair. So people are coming here and they are spending money. So do they have a good experience here, right? These are visitors here. How would you rate your experience here? Excellent and good, high percentage. People like these street fairs. There's no question about it. Are they likely to return? Much more likely, a bit more likely. Very much so. This is an attractive piece. The weather is one thing, right? The vendor selection is another. There's so many factors but with cooperation, with discussion, there's many ways in which all of this can be improved. So I think this is a nice swing here. This talks about the suggested improvements that actually came from the survey that was done. So if you look at quality of life, vendors, food, and summer comforts, you can see that people have some good ideas here. And not all of these can be implemented right away. But these are the kinds of ideas that people who collaborate and want to improve the village of Nyack, the street fairs, and all of the events that we put on, whether it be the advertising or the restrooms or the pricing or the location of the vendors. These are all ideas that are on the table that other people are speaking of. Would they come to another one? The answer is very likely. Can't get better than that. So the demographics, I think the demographics are important here. We're talking about a population of people that are not just all under 21 and not all over 65. Okay? It's a balanced approach to people that have come, and there's a balanced need to have various vendors that support all of that at one time. So one has to look at the curation of the vendors that actually come here. The income. It's often talked about what is the income of the people who actually come. I think it's higher than most people would realize. The income is between $50,000 and $200,000. People can spend money here. I think if the right vendors were here, if the right curation was here, people would spend more money, whether it be the shops or whether it be the actual booths. There's opportunity, there's people who actually have the money and it's the right demographics. This is an important piece of information, I think, for all of the people who are actually actively engaged in this community. The average household income in Rockland County is a little over 100 grand, but we have a high percentage of people that are earning good money and spend money. So if you look at the survey findings and look at the positive experience, they report the good experience, friendliness of people, the operations of the event is good, helpful staff. But logistically, it's well organized. Both the Cade and the Chamber do a nice job in organizing. DPW does a nice job, but parking arrangements, right? All of those things are all part of what people observe when they come here. They want it to be smooth. The vendors appreciate it, but there's areas of improvement, right? And we have to look at those areas of improvement, as we move forward here. How many years have people been in the fair? Right, this is interesting. Some 42%, this is their first year. Right? That means that they're still bringing in new vendors. We can continue to curate these vendors and get the right vendors here that actually attract more and more people. How many fairs have they attended? I'm just gonna skip this. So this is interesting, is, what category best describe your business? These are vendors, right? 23%, almost half of them were artisans or handmade goods. That's a lot. That's a lot, and then there's the clothing, and then there's the food venues. So again, it's the mix of these things. I actually, in my Medicare business, I used to have a booth here, okay, before COVID. And now I don't have a booth anymore, because professional services is not something that's often oriented with. But community organizations, I used to have a booth with Rivertown Film. So that was one way for me to attract some people there. So vendor satisfaction. Are they satisfied with your organization and coordination? The answer is yes. So I think there's a lot being done that's been right. Are the rental fees fair? Okay, the answer was that they are fair. And when we look at the comparison to other street fairs around the country, our fairs are absolutely not. There's no question about it. And I think that's important to realize. The likelihood of returning 82%. It's likely to return, which means that somehow or another, this is doing well for their business. They're encouraged by the activity. Again, there's nothing like a nice day. So the shop owner survey, what are the reasons why people come here, right? They're coming here for the special events and festivals. We'll talk about all the things that the chairman does, but there's so many other things. You visit NIAC, there's all kinds of activities that are promoted. There's Phoenix Festival going on, there's Arch Rock, there's things that NIAC said all the time that are going on. It's an exciting place to be. It's promotion, it's marketing. But holidays, seasonality, what are the specific days that people come here that I'm going to talk about in a moment? The hours that people are open. A lot of the shop owners, they're open, some of them are open 20 to 40 hours, some of them are open 40 or more hours. So again, it varies in terms of ownership, in terms of actual time open. But Mondays and Tuesdays are quiet, and maybe other days of the week it's quiet. We used to have presidential here, there used to be Orange and Rockland here. There used to be the corporations that are in this town that fed some of the daytime activity and daytime traffic. So again, this is the balance of what kind of other businesses there are in town. So, there's music stores, there's healthcare, there's bookstores, there's gifts, there's a whole balanced approach. We just need to continue to get people to be exposed to all the things that NIAC has and keep the people coming into town, however we do that. Okay, so why do merchants don't participate? The positive, it does boost revenue. On strong fair days, it's critical for some companies to have these street fairs. On the other hand, even when direct sales aren't high, they see fairs as vital exposure, building the awareness that actually occurs to create repeat customers. People know NIAC. They know NIAC, they like NIAC, we want them to love NIAC. But the nonprofits and all the nonprofits, there's dozens and dozens of nonprofits in this town, in this community. But there's a lot of pride. And so we bring more people in, they get more exposure to the things that we do. But there are negatives, not all positive. This is a survey that gave both the positive and the negative. The full 78-page survey has more information, but I'm doing my best to give you a good overview. So the fees, there's adding staff. You have to add the staff so that they can respond to a potential activity that goes on here for the street fairs. The margins are slim. That's always the case. It's the case in my business too. The margins are always slim. So it has to make economic sense, but it's still building awareness. There's a sense that, purchase the space, obscured by other groups, that's been an issue, right? And so the chamber has done everything it can to sort of allow that to not be obscured by other groups. But there's street closures, there's lots of parking, right? The crowds, it hurts regular business. So there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of opportunity to think through this and really make this a real positive experience. So is there value in people's participation? Well, 11 people didn't answer the question, but most people gave it from a 1 to 10. If you look at 7 through 10, there's value. There's value, and I think we can improve on the value as time goes on. The impact of it is a very positive impact or somewhat positive. Well, it's a positive impact. It can improve, but the impact is strong. Not, there are people who have a negative feeling. You're never gonna get everyone to agree to everything. So whether it's 80-20 or it's 70-30, you're gonna have the people who are positive about it, who are positively impacted, and you're gonna have the people that are negatively impacted. So changes and improvements. I think this is helpful as well. Reduce, how many street fairs are there? Is that something that needs to be talked about? Improve the vendor curation, right? High caliber, more curated selection, some funky things that are going on. Have it be unique, have it be something that people remember about coming to the street fairs. Reduced fees for local shops. All things can be put on the table as an opportunity to really build this community and build what it is that you started for so many years. Enhance the experience. Live music, people love live music. There's no question about it. It makes a big difference. And operational improvements, things like cyclists and dogs and cleanliness and just keep the community clean. Okay. So, again, the alignment on whether the demographics align, and the answer is that, sometimes there's knockoff goods and sometimes there are in-fact flyers that are going on. And so there needs to be a well thought out, on how this is actually going to roll out. So then to the end, so thank you for bearing with me, is that there's some key findings here. And I've tried to express some enthusiasm about this community and the chamber and what we're all doing, but it's really a community thing. This is about the positive experiences that it. So if you look at the visitor sentiment, you look at 100% of survey visitors say are likely to return for another fair. 75% think they're more likely to shop in Niagara. That's a key finding. Okay, experience for 90% rated their experience is good or excellent, with food, vendor variety, and a strong sense of community. It draws people in. You know that. A lot of people that come to these street fairs. Spending behavior, that's important. They reported budgets of $50 or more, and 1 in 5 exceeded $100. Do we want more? Do we want them to spend more? Maybe it's about the curation of the vendors. The promotional channels. Again, that's always something that I know very little about, but I also know that promotion really does happen. The implication is that the fairs are a goodwill driver and repeat visitation. That's what we want. We want people to keep coming back, creating both short and long-term awareness of Nyack as a destination. Shop owner feedback. It's divided. There's no question about it. There's operational disruptions. It's the ROI. It's the cost versus the return. What is the alignment? Are they aligned with the target clientele? The people who own the shops here, are they getting a clientele that they want? And it's also not the street fairs, it's just the people who are coming to Nyack in general. And the vendor quality, are there too many food vendors, or too many different of the same vendors that are here that we can curate better? The implication that fairs are beneficial in aggregate, but some retailers feel overshadowed or negatively. It's true. We need to address their pain points, whatever they may be. The vendors, though, 100% of vendors surveyed reported being satisfied with the setup. The rental fees found the fees fair. The likelihood of returning was high, but recommended next steps: curation, operational enhancements, community engagement is always important. So for the board, I say, visitors love the fairs. They drive consumer traffic. There's community pride in what we do here, and there are repeat visitors. The vendors who actually exhibit at the street fair, they are satisfied. They see Nyack as a strong, well-run market. The restaurant owners, the mix. There's benefits, but some experience disruption and misalignment with their goals, their ROI. And the strategic opportunity is just for us to fine tune the logistics, the quality of the vendors, the integration with the businesses, elevate the fairs from good to great. The last comment that I want to make is, it's about making the fairs more consistent, win-win for everyone. We seek as the board, the chamber board, to improve what is already unique about Nyack. We want to look at the best practices of fairs all across the area and all across the country to make, really a path to make these fairs even better for everyone involved. With that.
Thank you, Mark. Couple quick questions. I'm not sure who to direct them to, but what were the numbers of the survey responses on the various, because there was a visitor survey, a vendor survey, and a business survey. What were the respondent numbers?
50 to each category. That was Matt's goal.
50 to each category.
Yes, but not every response got 50 responses,
Okay.
but in each category, 50.
It was
50 shop owners, 50 vendors. He had two students and himself. And on the shop owners, he had to come back several times, but they would go during the street fair days, try to speak to shop owners, but sometimes that obviously wasn't.
How representative the sample was it in terms of, like, was there any effort made to mix in location versus, I'm talking about the shop owners, but visitors are easy, you just get a random sum of visitors, but.
There was the survey that we sent out. We got a list from Visit Nyack that we sent out. We sent it 3 times and then a 4th follow-up to give people a chance.
So the business owners.
That's right. And then the village sent it out twice. So it came from the village, and because we didn't want people to think, only the interest, the interest of the chamber being advanced here. So we also had the village send it out. And then when we didn't get the number 50, Matt came back and just would go to see who was available, who would speak to him.
Okay, and then the other question I had was, you used the July and the September street fairs, which are both PJ's promotions and both the
No, they're
cases.
not.
They're not? Oh, which are?
One is, the July one is PJ's, and the September one is Woodward.
Is Woodward, okay, thank you, I had that wrong.
We're happy about that. Obviously,
Yeah, well, no, you definitely want to mix of the two different promoters, because they might have a different approach to things. Did you notice at all a difference between the responses from vendor participation or whatnot between the two? Or that'd be too small a number to be able to.
I think it
make
would be too small.
Yeah.
Okay,
Actually, but I would just say that this is, in my mind, the beginning of a process. A lot of the people, there was, and I don't have that number and I apologize, but it was an anonymous survey. But we also asked people who were interested to go the next level and have a focus group. A good number of people stepped up for that. So that's what we want to do. And the other thing we want to do, originally, we wanted to have this the business council was supposed to be today, but because of Tower Tunnels, it couldn't happen. We wanted that to be a workshop, to have an hour and a half to go through this, to have an extended period of conversation. So we want to do that. So we would love to work with the village and Visit Nyack to set a date to try to get as many people, who are interested in, how we bring people to Nyack and what happens to people when they get to Nyack. To get people not only into the town, but into the stores. So we want to have that conversation. This is just the beginning.
And this was the last screen that I didn't get to, is are you interested in facilitating conversation with other local business owners?
55% say yes.
And overwhelmingly.
Yeah,
that's what maybe.
so maybe depends on timing is the big, that's what it always depends on. I want to say thank you for doing this. Thank you for presenting it. I appreciate you being straightforward about, there are lots of positives, but there are some negatives, and you were upfront about that, and I appreciate the integrity which you brought to that process. Thank you. I would say that it largely confirmed my priors on this, that the street fairs are terrific in a lot of ways, and I'm not surprised at all by the response of the public. I wouldn't know about the vendor response, but the public response is about what I would have expected. And the business owner response was about what I expected, which is slightly mixed, positive to mixed, depends sometimes on where you are, depends sometimes on what kind of business you have, and that's something that we really should pursue. But we're not, just so everybody understands, if someone wants to make a comment on this, we'll take a couple, I'll take comments, we have a lot to do tonight. We're not taking any action, this is not about taking any action tonight, so there's no board action that's being involved here. And I do agree there should be a follow-up. I've actually set out to have a meeting, I put it out to try to get a date with people this week to try to do something in early November to talk about the whole calendar, not just about street fairs, but just about the whole approach we have to the use of the park and the use of this. But it might be a good opportunity to do this if we find a date that aligns with you to make this part of that, because it's hard to get everybody together for any period of time. So anything we do that brings people in. And so I would say that I see there's some business owners here in the room that might have one opinion one way or the other. We're gonna have a full meeting about, now it won't be an official board meeting, it will be a business council meeting of sorts with as many business owners as can possibly make it. Business trustees are welcome to attend as well. But it won't be a board meeting with a board action, but it'd be just a fact-finding workshop type thing. And if you have particular comments, if you want to share them tonight, go ahead, you can step up and we'll give you a minute. But we are gonna try to have a meeting dedicated to talking about the results of the survey, and also kind of what the next steps would be. So thank you for that. Anybody want to raise a comment about it?
Well, I have a question.
Sure, yeah.
I have a question to Bill and to Mark. In the shop owner survey, it's a general shop owner. Do you dive deeper into retail restaurants to understand how each segment feels about the street fairs?
Well, because, there's Coke, so we know of the 50 that responded, we know the different sectors that they fall into.
Right.
So.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see how.
Well, okay, so we'll review that, and that's the purpose of having a longer discussion. But yeah, and so some of it, getting ready for this, some of it is anecdotal, but we spoke to restaurants. I think I think the number was slightly more retail than restaurants in the final analysis, but we can dive deeper in a moment.
I'm not sure that level of detail is available. I think if we had more time or available, more participation, we would have been able to break it down even better.
Were the responses anonymous or
Unless people chose to, because if you said the 55% that said we want to meet in the next 4 to 6 weeks, they left an email address. But that email address didn't necessarily, then we have to dig deeper to see what that business was. It didn't say, you didn't sign.
that's 55%? What about the other 45? You don't know.
Well, they didn't, yeah,
You don't know where
but you can sometimes tell, but you don't know for sure.
There's more work needs to be done, and I think the collaboration and what Joe said, is that if we get more people together, we'll get some opinions and we'll get feedback. But this was done with the intent of getting us the right direction for the information we need to hopefully make some good decisions.
Because I'd like to see the restaurants, if they're dissatisfied or satisfied, retail, if they're satisfied or dissatisfied. It'd be very interesting to see the mix.
Thank you for an answer, sir. Very good answer.
Oh, well, hold on 1 second. So I just, this was a really good survey, very thorough. I think I'm sort of a little dismayed though at some of the comments or I guess concerns about a mixed matched clientele. It seems really elitist to some degree in some of these responses, and I know that Nyack is socioeconomic.
Which slides?
I don't know if it was on the slides. I know it was in our packet that was presented to us, but I know it's when you get into some of the concerns, it seems like.
There were verbatims.
Yeah.
Included in the end. So some of the verbatims are no brainer, it's the greatest thing ever, and then some of the
Right.
verbatims are.
Well, no, I'm more concerned about the comment on the clientele or the people coming into the village. Was there any more elaboration on what people mean by a mixed match or a mixed or not good clientele of people coming into the
Not
building?
aligned.
Well, there are no follow-ups, so that would be
Okay,
part of the focus.
Well, it's whether the people who are coming, spending money, are, I think, getting, the kind of food or craft that they are looking for. Well, that's what I sort of took from the survey in terms of the match. I think.
I don't know, where is the match? What slide is the match reference?
no, I'm sorry, I just have to find where.
I just don't remember where it came out.
Category alignment, like.
Yeah.
Is it a vendor, or is it a consumer, or is it
It
a?
was the, it
It's
was
the
under
vendor
the.
script, yeah, mismatched crowd cited as reasons that
What's
could
their
hurt
number?
regular business.
What's the,
I mean, I think it's page 33 as one of the top negatives, and then it's sort of repeated as it goes on since that page going forward.
33, top negatives,
Yeah,
specials.
I'm
I just don't, I'm looking to see what context that word is used, because it's an interesting word. I just don't see the mismatch. Am I missing it?
Yeah, there was actually a graph.
yeah, I'm trying to find where else it's repeated, but
I think in the longer, this is the summary, right?
no,
Yeah,
this
you got,
is,
you got the longer version.
yeah, this is the longer version
You
of
got the
it.
long version.
So let's see it on page 33. It's also sort of repeated somewhat
I
on
don't see
page
the
40.
mismatch on 33, that's why I don't see it.
Well, I would go to page 40 then.
I'm just, I didn't notice it.
Yeah, where it says demographic alignment.
Shop owner feedback, okay. Uh. Now,
Yeah,
why
that's
would their
just a
target
little
clientele?
disconcerting given,
Well, I
what
think the
nine
second
is.
sentence, I think the second sentence is what they're talking about. 31% they were not aligned with their target clientele, with some describing crowds as oriented toward food and low-cost goods rather than higher-end retail. That is something we hear. That is something we hear.
no, I understand that. I think that's a little bit concerning given that the type of community that NAC is very welcoming to everyone of different socioeconomic backgrounds. So while I do understand that, yes, I can agree, there is a little bit too much emphasis on the same sort of gyro foods going down or like the fried everything type of foods. I can agree
Mm.
that maybe less of those are needed, but I do also just want to reiterate that in any further discussions, we should all be mindful of the type of people who do live in Nyack. We are a mixed background. There are different people, socioeconomic backgrounds. So it does concern me to hear that things might be curated to a higher clientele because it does keep people out.
Okay, that's a good point.
Thank you.
You've been waiting, go ahead.
No,
You have a comment?
no, I do have a comment,
Go ahead.
except the whole conversation.
Want to use the mic?
It's on,
Is on,
I think.
It should be.
yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, they're on. So this is my take on the street fair.
Hold it, hold it up.
Hold it to my
A
seat.
lot of people, some people are complaining about street fair. I complained many years about street fair. I had a little shop in town. Didn't do shit when the street fair wasn't. My business went down to zero. Do I complain? No. Guess what? It's only 6 street fair a year, where the village do well and do good. I'm not here to complain. I'm here to support the village to do what they do in general. Doesn't matter, Atara or the other organization. I'm here to support the village. Do I do good now? Yes, because I have a bigger place. My location is better. Yes, I do good. But for many years, I didn't do good. And I support the village. I never came in front of you to complain. I never complained in front of you. I did very bad for many years, and I do good now. So, in general, I said, whatever organization does for the village, they do very well. They do good. There's nothing wrong with what they do. They do always a very good job in general.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you very much. Anybody else want to make a comment about this?
I'd like to. Hi, can you hear me? Elizabeth Sedor, on Muddy Books. I noticed a comment about, locals not attending, but you didn't bring it out. And then again, it wasn't included in the summary. And I think this is really important. I think that probably, whatever would increase, whatever would address the, negative concerns, that people have would increase appreciation by locals. So it's sort of implicit. But I think it's really important to find out, to be aware of what locals' attitudes are towards the street fair. What is keeping them home? Because I do think a large number of people do avoid it. But I also was just moved to say, I hear what you're saying about respecting different diversity in attendance, but I don't think it has to be, we don't have to view it as poor versus rich. Not at all. I think it's really commercialism versus something more wholesome. Originally, fairs were country fairs. People were having pie contests, who could bake the best pie, who had the fattest pig, this kind of thing. It wasn't, how much, it wasn't plastic toys and that, we all know about the funnel cakes, right? But I think that, to raise the quality of the what's offered at the fair, does not mean putting a higher price tag on it. I think avoiding that as much as possible. I think it's thinking differently about what's offered. And one really important element is considering offering experiences. I grew up with a fantastic fair as a kid, small town fair.
I'm sorry, Elizabeth, I just have to.
Okay, so just this really, okay, people came from far and wide, but locals supported it intensely. There were many activities for children, not things that cost a lot, not stuff that we went home with, not toys, but activities. I mean, Elmwood Playhouse could offer, theater things, and Hopper House could offer art stuff, and they could receive an incentive, a lower cost for participating. That's something else to think about. So it's like having a different dynamic at the fair. It's not about rich versus poor.
Okay, I'm gonna cut this off because we have to get to our public meetings. We're after 8 o'clock. I'm going to ask everybody who's here, who's a business owner, if you haven't gotten my emails the last 3 weeks with basically a newsletter format of what's kind of what the business council's up to, and also asking you to participate in a doodle poll to pick a date for a meeting, then I would ask you to email me at joerand@nyack.gov, and I'll get you on the list so that I'll make sure that your email's on the list so you're getting the newsletter. We'll have further conversations about the survey and about the survey and about the street fairs and about other programming that the village could be doing, as well as getting prepared for the holidays. We'll be having that meeting sometime in the first week, hopefully of November. And hopefully we'll get a turnout for that. And with that, we're gonna turn to the public hearings. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Jack, and everybody from the chamber, and Akeda for coming out and presenting us that very helpful survey. All right, public hearings. The first one, can I get a motion to open the public hearing about amending chapter 360 of the Code of the Village regarding adaptive use of eligible religious or educational buildings? Motion.
Second.
All right, the public hearing is now open. To give you a general sense of this, the idea of the legislation is to allow for buildings that are in residential areas that are currently being used for religious or educational purposes to, if they were to change their use, they could do adaptive reuse to become, I think it's multifamily housing. Is that right? To become multifamily housing, with the idea that they would not be restricted to staying within an educational or religious use. And so we're adding some code provisions to be able to do that. Does anybody have any public comments on that topic? Come on up, please.
Hi, when I haven't read.
Just make sure you state your for the
My
record.
name's
that-
Barbara Cohen, and
You still have a microphone, Barbara. I
I know we can't, but they can't hear you. By the way, if you use the mic, just don't turn off the data, just put it down, it's fine. The mic, the battery's fine, yeah, we can hear it. Yes, thank you.
And, sorry, Andy, can you turn this off?
Just some clarification, I didn't see any lot of bulk of height requirements in the proposed land use that you're talking about, so those would just be open-ended?
No, those would be whatever's in
They're
the,
subject to the zone.
stuff to the zoning code.
But if they're not, if that, like, say, you know, whatever, the church over here doesn't, you know, or if it's Nyack High School and that's actually that area is zoned for 1 and 2 family houses, then what?
The exemption would be that it would be allowed to do multifamily housing, not limited to 1 or 2 family houses. That's the
Yeah.
purpose of the legislation.
Where's the density and height restrictions on that?
It would all, I would assume it would just defer to the,
There are, I think the way it works is it's adaptive reuse, so you're not allowed to expand beyond the building that you're adapting. So in other words, if there's a church or a school that's already existing, you can alter the interior to make it suitable for multifamily housing, but the shell, my understanding, remains the same. So there are no bulk regulations built into this local
So-
law.
so my assumption is they would be limited to the multifamily zoning restrictions that are currently existing.
Well,
It's
also-
basically a multifamily zone.
Didn't we also
No.
include some changes to our own adaptive reuse where,
We did that a while ago, yeah.
yeah. So wouldn't they be subject to those rules?
I don't believe so.
All right, well, I think the intent of it is that they're subject to multifamily zoning. I mean, if they were in a multifamily zone, wouldn't they be restricted in terms of the height, in terms of everything else that they would have? That's what she's asking, and she's right.
Not the way this local law is written.
Okay, then we gotta change the way the local law is written, because the point is that obviously, we do not wanna give these buildings carte blanche that they're not subject to any zoning restriction. We want them to be subject to zoning restrictions that are applicable to the typical multifamily zone.
But
Because they're supposed to be subject to multifamily zone. They're just not supposed to be restricted, they can only be used for church. Right now, they're almost all in residential zonings, or it might be some sort of mixed use district, depending on the place. But if we don't want to say to, using as an example, not the old Nyack High School, that's in a single family or 2 family zone. That if that were to go out of, no longer want to be for educational uses, that they're currently using for in BOCES or the school district, that they'd be limited, that they'd have to sell to a school. We want them to be able to turn into housing, but obviously would not be feasible for them to turn into a single family home. So they want to turn into multifamily homes, to turn it into an apartment building. But I think they're still, I assume they would still be subject to multifamily zoning restrictions that are in the multifamily zone. That would then apply to them.
If you could communicate this to our village planner, the
Okay.
versions that you've seen are my tweaking and cleaning up of what was presented to me by the village planner, which I believe.
I'm not saying anybody did anything wrong. I'm saying that my assumption on this is that, and maybe that was a poor assumption. I appreciate you raising it because I assumed that they would not be in a non-zoning state. That they would be they would be treated as if that's the whole point. They'd be treated as if they were in a multifamily residential zone.
The language that's in there now says that I don't have it in front of me now, but it cannot expand beyond the structure that is there now. So I think
Okay.
the village planner's philosophy was what's there is not changing.
Yeah, that's not the way it's gonna work though, because some of these small churches, they might actually want to build up.
Well, then it would probably be contrary to what I thought was the legislative policy behind this was to keep these historic
I
buildings.
mean, in some cases you would, but I
If
think
you're
that's not the
allowed to
purpose.
expand or even be demolished, and listen, this is all
No.
legislative policy,
Right.
that's.
Something's been miscommunicated. This is not a historical, what this is about making sure that these properties are not restricted in their use beyond the current occupant, that the current occupant wants to change the use, they're not restricted, that they have to then maintain educational or religious use. That's too restrictive on the building owner at a time when we need more housing, that they would not be allowed to turn it into housing. They would not be allowed to do anything.
So like, say like St. Anne's School, that's not technically a historic building, so.
It is now, St. Anne's.
Well, I was
School?
thinking more of the church than the school. The church is,
The school's over 50 years old, that's the.
Well,
limit.
alright.
well, despite that being said, I was under the impression that to your, like, you keep the shell, but you reform, you
The
know,
Interior.
yeah, similar to what they did in like Tapan, where they took that elementary.
Cafe
school.
Grammar.
Yeah, they turned it into condos. I'm thinking, wouldn't our rules be subject to something similar to that?
Well, that's, again,
Yeah.
not that I mean to defend the village planner and
No, I got
myself and,
you. Yeah.
and others that have been working.
I trust your work, I understand.
Our
yeah.
understanding was the Tappan Grammar School concept, where it's not a school inside anymore, they're
Right.
condominium units.
Right,
But from the outside, nothing's changed. It
Right.
still looks like a school.
right.
So zoning regulations specific, to this
Mhm.
program weren't necessary because whatever building was on that site was gonna remain as it was, and has been for decades. That was the idea, I thought. And the village planner, I think, thought.
I'm sorry, I thought I communicated what we were trying to do here. I'm sorry that was miscommunicated. So we'll go back to the drawing board with that particular issue because I think, and we should talk about it.
Yeah,
Because the idea is that there's a lot of properties that are subject to this.
Yeah.
The idea is to ensure that they are not restricted in their use beyond educational, they are allowed to become multifamily housing. Doesn't mean that they would become multifamily housing, but they would be allowed to be multifamily housing if that was what was the highest and best use of that property.
right.
And that's what we're trying to capture.
Yeah, no,
And in most cases, it will be an adaptive reuse of the property because they don't want to keep the shell, but in cases where it might not be feasible to keep the shell and turn it into residential housing, there might be other things, they might have to add a story, they might have to do something but when they do that, they should be subject to the same rules that would apply to any kind of multifamily building. They shouldn't be exempt because they used to be a school any more than it used to be a factory and now it's turned into housing. It's a factory, it's being turned into housing, it's subject to zoning rules, right? A factory turned into multifamily housing in a district that allows for multifamily housing would be subject to multifamily housing district rules, zoning rules. Okay, well, that's all. That's what I'm saying, that there's no difference between the school and the factory in terms of if it decides to become multifamily housing, it's subject to the same zoning rules.
Sure, whatever you legislatively want is fine, as long as it's communicated to the village planner and myself, so we can draft it. But my understanding, and I think the village planner's understanding was, you have these religious and or educational buildings that you don't want
Okay.
to change.
I understand what you misunderstood. I'm saying,
Multifamily housing.
I apologize for the misunderstanding. I apologize for the misunderstanding. We'll pick this up again.
Just
That-
give some examples, like if you were doing at the Montessori school, they have that whole side yard, commercial properties, let you go up to the sidewalk.
Well, it's not commercial, multifamily.
No,
residential.
multifamily, excuse me, you're allowing up to 4 stories in there. The high school, I mean, I'm not saying that, like on the high school with the fields and the parking lots, there might not be some, attractive and good things, but they also, need to be limited within the height scope of the neighborhood.
Agreed.
And they need to have the setbacks of the neighborhoods. And they can't, in my estimation, when you're in a residential district, you can't start saying 50 units per, like we are in our main street, which I think is too high anyway, but that's a different issue. So, if you get a developer, and you leave a lot of things out there, and they come in with a project and then say you're denying me, even though your zoning doesn't allow it, that's kind of a
Okay.
problem.
Thank you for your
Anyway,
comment.
thank you.
So
course.
that being said, should we even continue?
Well, I think we can take comments on it. but
Oh, yeah, no,
we'll
for
continue-
sure.
We'll continue it for next meeting.
Oh, well, no, I'm saying, do we need to continue it or do we need to reissue a new
Yeah, we'll have to set a new public hearing.
public hearing? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good question. Yes.
Yeah,
Set a new
that's what
public
I mean, yeah, like.
hearing. Can we
I don't-
continue the public hearing if we're changing legislation or
Right.
just we have to set a new one?
You can, but I think this, what's being discussed now is very different than what was
Okay.
proposed. So I would say a new notice of public hearing, brand new.
Mhm.
And the most recent version, which has not been publicly distributed yet, which has been an internal document, would require a new notice of
All
public.
right, so we'll do a new
hearing.
public hearing. Thank you. That's the answer. We'll need a new public hearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
sorry, I don't mean to keep belaboring a point. if we close the public hearing, do we have to vote on the legislation or can we
No.
like just, oh, okay, we can just,
Close the public hearing, you just table it.
you just table, okay, sounds good. Thank you, Dennis, sorry.
And don't set a new date, which means whatever you do next will require a new public hearing.
Okay.
A new notice will have to go out,
Mhm.
be distributed to the county department of planning,
Yep.
etc.
Gotcha.
Joe,
You'll be starting from scratch,
No, that, thank you.
which
Joe,
Okay, so, my, point of contention, and since the whole multifamily stuff will be revised and so forth, but my point of contention is allowing the planning board to have special use permit authority. I think that the planning board certainly has a function in reviewing all of the plans, but I think it should be left to the Board of Trustees to actually be the final grantor of a special permit. The planning board is an appointed board, whereas the village board, we are elected and we are responsible to our constituents. And I think that we should be, and actually, I kind of object to all of the special permit allowance that the other boards have. I think it should always reside with the Board of Trustees, which we are directly elected by the village and not, we're not appointed.
I agree with the main point that I agree that this particular issue, I think is unique enough and unusual enough. It won't come up much. There aren't that many properties that'll be covered by it. That I think it should be a special use by the village board. Whether because a lot of special uses are not discretionary in the way that you're thinking about that we've had come into controversy. But to the point here,
Right.
I agree with that.
Okay.
So we'll put that to the village planner as well.
Yeah.
Anybody with public comments on this? Any more public comment? All right, so motion to table the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're tabling the public hearing. We'll bring it up at a future date. We're gonna amend the legislation. All right, the next, let's just, the changing the date, can I get a motion to open the public hearing on changing the annual meeting to the first Monday in December?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. The public hearing is now open about changing the organizational meeting from January to the first meeting in December. The purpose of this is to align it so that there's a bunch of housekeeping reasons why we're doing this, which are not particularly of interest to anybody in a not substantive way. Any public comments on this? Seeing no public comment, we do have a resolution on this item. We'll
Wait.
take the resolution 710.
Sorry, I have a question.
Sure.
I know that we had a small discussion towards the end of the meeting about swearing in versus reorganizational meeting. Was that resolved or is that solved?
Well, that, if I understand your question,
Yeah.
that is one of the purposes of this is to resolve that timing of the swearing in
Yeah,
and the effective date of the official who's being sworn in's powers under
Yeah.
her or his office,
yeah,
under which he or she was elected. That's the point of it, to line it all up, to be on the date of the annual meeting.
okay, so that would mean then that whoever, it's like, say someone is leaving the board, their term would end that first Monday in December and
Exactly.
not the 31st of December.
Exactly.
Okay,
So the terms end not at the end of the year, they end at the end at the.
yeah, at the last meeting. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Which turns out not to matter this year, but in the future will
Yeah.
matter, but then they
Right.
will have taken office at the same time.
Yeah, I know we were wondering like state law versus what local, I'm assuming we figured out there is that separation, like village law.
This is a
separate from what-
common, practice? I mean,
It's generally done so that you don't have a period of time where there's no village board.
The New York Conference of Mayors suggests this.
Oh, okay,
In their most recent manual, the New York State Village Law. Also, is in comports with this local law is proposing.
Yeah.
It's, is it the most common, method of villages throughout the state? I don't know, but I do know other villages do the same that's being proposed right now.
no, it makes more, I know we just had like a weird discussion about it, well, not a weird, we talked about it at the end of the last meeting. And I know there was some confusion, so I'm glad that was cleared up.
And also, another little wrinkle that it will clear up is when you have, say, for example, an outgoing mayor
Yeah,
making appointments, that in a few weeks, she or he
It's not gonna be
it's
responsible.
not gonna be, yeah, no, that makes sense.
is the
In that last
incoming mayor will
Yeah.
inherit those
Yeah.
appointments literally a few weeks later,
Mhm.
which is nonsensical.
Right, no, that makes
Okay.
sense.
Any other public comments or questions about this? All right, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion,
Second.
All in favor? The motion, public hearing is closed. The next public hearing is about amending code 238 regarding noise. Specify conditions on which gas powered leaf blowers may be used according to the size, property, month, time of day. Can I get the opening of the public hearing?
motion,
Second.
Okay, I know we definitely have some public comments on this, so do we have a list there? Put them on 2 minutes each, because I don't think we have that many. Is there a list up top?
They're not on.
There's not, all right, then just raise your hand, come up if you want to speak to this, just come up in an orderly fashion.
You wanna summarize it?
Yeah, I'll summarize the legislation, which is that, this would make a narrow exemption to the general ban on gas powered leaf blowers to allow the exemption for properties of 10 acres or more, of which there are 2 in the village. It would apply during, let me get the exact, I need the exact, what it's for 6 to 8 weeks in the spring, 6 to 8 weeks in the fall. It would only be from 9 to 4, 9 AM to 4 PM, and not on holidays or on weekends. But the idea is that we have a couple of properties that are very large and very treed, and happen to be very hilly, and that they have a lot of difficulty managing that property with electric powered leaf blowers. So this is why the legislation's been called to address particularly the Oak Hill Cemetery. So that's the purpose of it. We have some public comment. John, come on up. You okay? You want to see? You can see. You don't have to see this.
Okay.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, good.
John Ramada, 8 First Avenue. I first wanted to thank you for the current leaf blower ordinance. It's made a real difference in the lives of many residents, myself included. Maybe it's much quieter where I live and work and think. And I know that it's made a tremendous difference in the amount of carbon emission that's being put into the air by Village of Nyack. Now, I just want to ask you to maintain the ordinance as it currently exists. Contrary to what I read in the summary of this legislation, there are several good alternatives for commercial electric leaf blowers for large properties. The technology exists. It's certainly within the means of the entities that are requesting a change in the legislation. Also, in this time, we're told by leaders of our nation that climate change is a hoax, and where Lee Zeldin is rolling back air pollution regulations. I hope that you will stand firm and continue to protect the village of Nyack and the residents here, while these larger property owners can adapt, as they will have to do eventually, because these gas leaf blowers are going to be phased out across the nation soon enough. The alternatives exist. I ask you to please hold the line, and thank you for your service to the village and your continued service for the health and environment of our village. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
We just found Nyack search and a commercial with replaceable
Next,
batteries.
oh, sorry, this is your public comment, or you're addending to his, okay. Was there 3?
That's fine.
I don't need one. Well, or I'll look at it and give it back, I guess.
Who's next? Come on up, please.
Hi, my name is Doug Whoops. I don't pick it up, I just walk into it.
No, pick it up.
Just pick it up and talking to, please.
Hi, my name is Beth Riso.
It's not on.
It's not on, and I don't know how to turn it.
Everybody turns it off.
I don't know what.
Turning it off and they put it on.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Hi, my name is Beth Riso, and I've been coming here for, I don't know, 15 years with this leaf blower stuff. The law is phenomenal. I mean, it's something that makes me proud to live here. I mean, it's something that it's bragging rights for this village. The village has a lot of issues like any other municipality, but this is one thing that differentiates us from every place else. We care about the environment here. We care enough to say, we got rid of these things that everybody hates. I don't care what socioeconomic bracket you're in, everybody hates it. Every race, creed, color, religion, we all hate them. And this village had the chutzpah, had the balls to actually put their money where their mouth was, and kudos to the village of Naya for standing up to the residents. Really, it's something that I'm almost a lifetime resident here. I've been here forever. And this is really the crowning glory of this village. And on that note, I did some research too. And there's actually sections on the internet. See best electric leaf blower for large commercial property. They're there. They have battery leaf blowers now. The technology is amazing, that are every bit as strong and every bit as powerful. I mean, they may not have the machismo of the loud, they don't, they're not quite as manly, but they do the job. And the batteries last a long time. You can have some charged batteries with you, and they're really, really just as practical as the gas blowers, with a lot less disruption, smell, noise. And thank you for doing this, and please don't change it. Please don't change it. I have some of this stuff I can give you guys to look at.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next.
My name's Camille Barone, and I don't know, can everybody hear me? And I live on Front Street, which is right across the street from the cemetery. And I want to also say the same things that everyone else has said so far. Thank you very much for what you have done for this village. I still have had to go out there many times to tell different landscapers, please not to use them. But mostly they have complied. So now what you are doing is you are going to subject me 2 months out of the year, no, actually 4 months out of the year, so that's 120 days, that anytime I decide to sit in my yard, they could be there from 7 AM to 4 PM. How many hours a day is that? How many hours of peace and quiet will I have while all of you are able to still be in the van, except in exceptions, so you won't have to worry about it. But if you come to my house, I can guarantee you that you will not want to sit in my yard. Joe knows my house, he's seen my yard. I take pride in sitting there. I am retired. I worked 25 years as a nurse. I gave back to the community. I was in the military. I deserve peace and quiet, just like everyone else that's still going to appreciate it. I am not going to be able to appreciate it when there are alternatives. Please consider my situation in this while you enjoy your peace and quiet. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think you turned it off. It was on.
It's on, I pushed up on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on. We can't hear.
Anyway, I'm an early adopter of electric cars. We got our electric cars in 2014 and 2019, and we haven't had anything but electric cars since. And what I hear from everybody to this day is, I'll get an electric car when I can drive to Maine. You can drive to Maine. We've been driving to Maine since 2014. The paradigm is switching. So the idea that they can, pack it on their back, they have to stop and put gas in. An electric commercial blower will blow continuously for an hour. But I've noticed at the Nyack Boat Club, they used to just have those things going continuously because they're hard to turn on and off. But with the electric one, when they have to push it, when they have to do it, they push the button and then they move on and they're not using it. And then they turn it on. Again, the duration of the blowing is about a quarter of what it was, I think, because they're afraid to turn them on and off because of the difficulty of it. The boat club still looks fine, but the paradigm of that this electric thing won't work, I'm sure it won't work. It's just not true. And before we had electric mowers, they maintained, there are other ways as well. Mulching it in by mowing the leaves is much better for the environment, and then they can use electric even more minimally. But this is just, they're too bad for the environment, they're too bad for our health, they're too bad for the workers' health. And I personally have come up here for many years. I have to divert around gas mowers because I have asthma. And when I was at Montessori, I was every day a different way during the fall because I would get into hacking coughs. So when you're talking about, the people who live around there, the people at the hospital, because those 2-cycle engines are worse than any car, any truck, any commercial truck. They have literally no emissions controls on them. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on, either one, you'll both get a chance. Just state your name and,
Hello,
that you-
I'm Henry Rand, lived in Nyack 25 years. And I'm really concerned about the precedent. We started allowing 10-acre properties. What's that stop someone from saying, hey, I have 2-acre property, a 1-acre property, half-acre property? It's really not the thing to do, to be changing this after such a long, hard fight to get it in place. And then besides that, we're doing it at the request of a business whose commercial company was doing the landscaping, constantly broke the law after it was passed. There were multiple complaints that were filed. They continued to break the law. Now this year, they figure, well, let's just get them to change the law for us. That's a very bad precedent too, and that's something I urge you not to entertain. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening.
Name and,
Yes, my name is Louis Kriegel. I own Grounds Care Ltd. We're the current grounds maintenance provider for Oak Hill Cemetery. And just wanted to give you a little bit of information that we have as far as a comparison with the sound levels between the currently available electric battery powered blowers and the decibel ratings, because this is the noise ordinance, as compared to the newest and most lowest decibel ratings for gas powered competition as far as the blowers go. So I have here from the manufacturer's websites on the specifications for the 2 machines that we currently own and we use in providing the service. It shows both electric and gas powered blowers are within 1 decibel, which is 73 decibels for the Husqvarna commercial machine, and the steel is a 75 decibel rating. They're both comparable as far as the sound levels that they emit. The major differences are the power that is produced by the electric blowers is 50% less than what the comparable gas powered blower produces. With that said, the reality is, I think everybody can understand the size of Oak Hill Cemetery being over 50 acres. We generally, we've been their service provider for almost 30 years, probably over 30 years.
it's a long process by where we have to take care of the leaves, move them off the property, collect them, and it's an arduous process. We need to get it done in a rather timely manner because it's an ongoing open cemetery where a lot of people come and visit on a regular basis. With the comparison would be that if we were required, which if we are.
I'm just gonna ask you,
Yes.
Thompson, please, get
Yeah.
those.
Basically, it's 50% decrease in the amount of power, so we need double the amount of electric blowers. So we currently use 6 gas powered blowers.
Yeah.
We would need 12 electric blowers. And they would be operating at a continuous maybe for 5 days in order to get this portion of the job done. I don't even think we could get the job done in a one cycle. So we're looking at.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next,
Yeah, Bill Batson, 262 South Boulevard. I just want to say the urgency and the intent behind our request. As Lou said, we're a 50-acre cemetery. Much of it on a hill, and it's called Oak Hill because they're oak trees. They produce an enormous amount of leaves during the seasons. And we are open as a place where people come to visit. You know, they're dearly departed. We can't figure out exactly who's going to visit at what time and where they're going to visit in the property. So we have this philosophy where we try to cover as much of the ground as possible. And from what we've learned from experience, because there are people who have been on the board for many years, and we have the experience of our grounds care, that what is being asked would not produce the result. That if we were, unable to get an exemption, and we were using electric, we would be louder and we would be using it longer. Where if we were able to use the gas powered, we could shorten the amount of time that the leaves were being removed in. And we would also be accepting certain time restrictions that are, I think, greater than what an electric blower could be used. I think we're saying we would start at 9 and end at 4, and we'd only be during the week, no weekends. So that the effort is to get it done as fast as possible so that when people arrive during the seasons when it's full of leaves and wet, that there's no issue not only with safety but also with people feeling that the grave site is being properly cared for. That's the intent and that's the interest here. Without this provision, you would have possibly 12 to 16 blowers going for the full 5 days instead of a shorter period of time. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, the gentleman in the back.
Also want to say thank you very much for all you guys do as well. And this law, I've talked to Andy many times. I've actually talked, many neighbors have been using gas blowers when they're not supposed to. And I think the enforcement of these laws is really is problematic because by the time they're done, they're gone. But anybody would come up to enforce. So I don't even know if anybody's gotten even a ticket on some of this stuff, but there's repeat offenders, guys blowing leaves out of gutters. Every year I have to tell them, I told you last year, why but back to what these guys were saying about about how long it takes to blow leaves and it'd be shorter amount of time. I mean, in the flyer here that that was handed out, basically says mulch. It says mulch. So if you mulched most of the stuff that is on the property, you would not need as many leaf blowers, and you wouldn't spend as much time doing it, right? I'm hearing, so here's another thing, like I called Andy a couple times because the school, I look over like the 50-yard line on the BOCES McCallum Field, and the landscaping company that comes in there comes at 6 a.m. They had 11 friggin' blowers, gas blowers. It's not about saving time. It's about saving time for them to get to the next job and make more money, right? it's not about the quality of our lives and it not being able to be woken up at 6 a.m. with 3 giant blowers that are wheelied around and then multiple gas pack blowers. It was 11. I have a video of 11 blowers at 6 a.m. on the McCallum Field. It's going to be the same thing with that. It's they want to get out. They want to come in. It's not about, decibel levels. It is quite loud. And you know what? Maybe if you buy the newest versions of these gas pack mowers, they're quiet. But most of the landscapers in town who come in, they've got the mufflers off and it's like, what? It's not the same decibel level. There's no way. It has created a nightmare situation that is now fixed, but we're gonna now create an environment where I'm the landscaper across the street, Ryan's Landscaping. Every year they keep coming and using gas blowers, and then they come in and reluctantly use their electric one or their battery powered one. They're saying, oh, well, he's using it, so I'm gonna use my gas powered blower, right? So now you're opening up a door for all these guys who come out, these third party companies. It's that, this 1852. So the gas pack mowers didn't start becoming popular until the 80s. What did they do for all those years?
Yeah.
Right? So why do we need to have, we've had these things for 50 years of how annoying these things are. We can fix it if you guys stick with it. And they're gonna be banned in California. So I looked it up to see what California does in their graveyards. And they use electric blowers with cords. I use one for my property. The batteries run out quick, so I use an electric with cords. The graveyard can put outlets at each corner of the property, run power and run, mulch the existing stuff on the top and just blow around the headstones. They could achieve the same purpose. I just don't buy it. And most of the people who run the leaf blowers are little jobs that come in and they have very noisy leaf blowers. So that's my thought. Thank you. Thank you for your this law. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, Joe and Joe and Pascal, Andy. Thank you so much for the ban. It's been wonderful. I'm just going to say that I stand behind what everyone has said so far. And I do want to ask, besides, why have you not considered mulching? And also, what about collecting, putting a collector on the back of your mowers? That should reduce. Also, I understand your quandary, but again, there is a serious quality of life issue here. And we did work for years to try to get this thing under control. And thankfully, Joe and the existing board or the previous board were able to get it through for us. But it really is a serious issue. We live on Front Street and the sound just echoes off the hillside, and it's just disturbing. It's just I don't know, it's just not pleasant. And I really hope that you consider keeping it as is, and not setting a precedent for someone else to come in, because it is a constant thing where we're out self-enforcing. And if they're using the blowers, the other people are gonna say, well, they're using it, we gotta run around and tell them, oh, please don't use the blowers. Some people get pissed. It's just not cool, but please reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to make one more comment. I was physically blown by a guy that kept pushing it at me. I had my dogs with me and he was blowing it at me to get me away from him. And then he decided to videotape me because he said he was going to report me because I assaulted him. So this is what I have to deal with when I go to these houses, when I could be in my yard and 2-3 blocks away, I'm hearing it. I go to find where they are so that I can tell them so that they don't do it the next week. And then sometimes they get pretty aggressive. So like everyone said, if you're gonna set a precedent here, everyone else is gonna start doing it. Absolutely. Thank you.
I just wanted to talk about that same sound level.
We try to do one public
I
comment.
know, but this is just the whole thing about it's exact same sound. So decibels are logarithmic, so every 10 increase is 100. It's taking you from
I
10 to 100.
don't think anybody really credited that.
Yeah, so gas leak blowers are 95 to 100. And electric ones are, where are they? 65 to 80, which is the equivalent of a vacuum cleaner. It's just, that's the whole thing. We can't do it. That's the idea that everybody has when they're asked to make a change. But again, they went all those years without it. So.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I just wanted to add one thing. I heard the number bandied around, but it's supposed to be a nonprofit, but they have a surplus of over $1 million a year. If that is the case, I don't know, that's what I heard. They should invest in better technology. Why should we, where does that money go? And why should we bear the brunt of them, both landscaper trying to get out of there quick and get to the next job, make money, and then they make more, they get to keep more of their money.
Right.
I just,
Okay. Thank you. Any other public comment from someone who's not had a public comment yet?
Quick comments, one quick.
Guys, we give you an opportunity to give you 2 minutes. It's not supposed to be an open
I forgot to.
back and forth. Go
Very
ahead.
quickly.
Last one.
When I asked some of my neighbors, because I too had to remind neighbors, you're not allowed. Oh, but this one uses it, and that is what's gonna happen. If they use it, the next one's gonna say, they're doing it, I wanna do it, it's not gonna end, and you guys are gonna have a room full of business owners and others saying, they're doing it, we want it, and it's gonna happen every week, at every meeting.
Okay, comments from the village board.
Joe?
Yeah, well,
I gotta gather my thoughts. Go ahead.
oh, you want me to go?
Yeah.
Well, let me say this. I would suggest that we table this for next meeting.
I was thinking that too, only
Because we only have 3 people
Yeah,
here. We
Don
should
can.
have everybody else be able to weigh in on this. But to have their vote and to be able to participate. I think, listen, this is a very tough situation. We have a institution here, it goes back, 150 years, that's been up on the hill. They have a very specific, unusual situation with the size of the property and the treeness of the property and the nature of the use of the property. It's relative, although I recognize there are people that live in that Front Street area that are nearby, but for the most part, they're not at least adjacent to a lot of housing. So it's a unique situation, which is why we're considering it. To go to your point that you just made, Beth, we've had people come here, I don't know, 8 or 9 times asking us to do it, and we've said no. This is the one time we've considered it because of the unique nature of the circumstances. And I don't think it's a slippery slope. I think people say, well, how do you make a definition of 10 acres? Well, how do you make a definition that you can drink at 21, but you can't drink at 20? Like you set a limit, you say nothing less. So we're gonna discuss it, but what I would suggest we do is table, so I know Joe might want to make a comment, so I'll let Joe make a comment. But I would suggest we then table this for the next meeting, which will give you another opportunity. It'll give you opportunities to be able to get more people, if you want to get more people to weigh in on this. And it will give us to make sure we have the other trustees here as well, so they can be on the record as to where they feel on it. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, I thank you for that, Joe, and Pascal, for tabling considering the table this discussion. We need all the trustees here to make this decision. I spent years in the anti-gas leaf blower group. And, as a trustee, I have to weigh and I have to view the various points. I can't just be on one side. I have to listen to a major property owner on the other point. But there are some good points that were made here, and I appreciate it. And I think maybe we should have a conversation with Oakville about some of the suggestions that were brought forth, like mulching, checking into the new technology. But again, I would wait until the whole board is here to make and by the way, this proposed legislation, it's not starting at 7 in the morning, it's 9 in the morning, 9 to 4, 5 days a week. And what I would want to see in any legislature, if we do decide to go ahead with it, is to have a sunset after a period of time.
Yeah, I think that's a fair suggestion to look at it. We originally thought about it for a 3-year period. I think that's, so at least it would be a limited time, and then we can revisit it depending on the technology. Which would be a fair suggestion.
And this was at the suggestion of the Oak Hill Cemetery, that they would only want it for 3 years. Okay, so there are various factors, but you know what? I'm uneasy about it, and I think tabling it to the next meeting, I think that would be the way to go.
Yeah, I think we want to make sure people have an opportunity to be able to weigh in on it, to be fair. And I know we have about 12 people came here to this meeting. There might be other people that also want it. And there wasn't a lot of notice there was notice, but it didn't really get publicized until sort of middle of this week, and people can't necessarily make meetings like this at the last minute. All right.
Wait, hold on. I did have a comment.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I just needed a minute to sort of gather my thoughts based on everything we heard. So yes, thank you all for coming. I do also live up that area. Granted, it is noisy just in general. Like I've just had all hours, so don't take my comments for that. But I hear what all of you guys are saying. It does get very noisy. There are, we do have environmental concerns that, I certainly will have to live through. And I get it. You want your peace and quiet, especially in that neighborhood. And I do too, also living in that area. So I definitely understand where you guys are coming from. I also do hear what Oak Hill is saying. It is a large property. There are a lot of big trees. It is unique in that way where people are coming at different hours. So you do want to keep the place safe. So I do understand that and I recognize that. I do agree with Joe. I do think exploring some of those alternatives is really necessary at this point. I didn't realize that a lot of those alternatives were written on the door hanger that I know everybody did work hard to spread around to people. And I also know too that there had been at least a few fines that were given to some of the worst offenders, particularly the high school, because I live around there. They are one of the worst offenders. I will say that. The guys at the hospital are also pretty bad. And then of course some of the neighbors in that area. So I do know that there are a lot of repeat offenders around, and I know that the village has been working on finding a lot of these guys. The fines have been issued. Things have escalated at certain points when fines are not paid. So I know the enforcement can be better, but I know we've been working on that. Like I said, I think we should table it. I think the full board should really be here to weigh in on this decision. We are down 2 board members, and it would feel a bit of an injustice to make a vote on this without having them also weigh in on that. And I still have a lot more to think about, given that I've heard a lot of their concerns. So keep them coming. I will give my actual village email, because I think a couple of you have my personal email. So I will give you my village email to send them to. But I thank you guys all for coming, because it is good to hear your concerns. There were a lot of things that were said that I didn't really consider. So thank you.
All right. So I get a motion to table the public hearing to our next meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for participating in this. I do think, I will say this to Andy. We need to have some dedicated enforcement. I think the ban should be enforced in the places where it is. And I do, the person who brought up the issue, sometimes the person actually attacking you with a leaf blower. That is abhorrent. And I do think there are some people who are bad actors here. I don't think that the people involved with the cemetery are bad actors, but I think there are bad actors out there who are scofflaws. And so we have 2 code enforcement officers, and we can put them to use driving around looking for people who are violating the ban. I hate it as much as everybody does. I hate when I hear it in my neighborhood as well.
That ban does apply to homeowners, because it sounds like in some situations it's actually the homeowner.
Yeah.
This guy.
Yeah, it applies to everybody. You can't use it as a homeowner.
Yeah.
And also,
So just to
with regard
clarify
to.
too, she wasn't attacked by a cemetery employee. It was
No, I didn't think you were
Yeah,
talking about cemetery.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about somebody in the neighborhood.
A homeowner.
Also, I would like to see I guess a quick reaction telephone number that residents can call if they find somebody next door or a lot over is using a gas leaf blower and.
Wouldn't that just,
And-
I know we're not taking public comment at this point, so I'm sorry.
Code enforcement officer, I actually showed, I said, right across the way, the guy was blowing leaves, and I said, the guy who's giving tickets for the cars, he's actually authorized to give tickets to them. Yes,
No.
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Where's my thing? The conversation,
That's-
we're
that's
gonna
the-
close it down just because we have,
Yeah, that's why.
it's 9:20 and we have not yet gotten to approving the minutes. So we're going to try to move the meeting along.
We didn't get to, we didn't get to the agenda.
We haven't gotten, well, adoption of minutes is before the agenda. All right, thank you all. All right, can I get a motion to adopt the minutes of 9:10?
Second.
Any comments or questions or changes to the minutes?
No.
Please exit quietly.
Quietly, please,
Um,
thank you.
No comments or questions, motion approved, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Action item 7.1.
Joe,
Yeah,
would you do me a favor and maybe invite the YMCA to come up and speak to
Oh.
the discussion item that's late in the agenda?
oh, okay, sure, I didn't realize he was here for that, go ahead, yeah, Phil.
Thanks for staying, Bill.
Phil, do you have any comment on the leaf blower?
Or any
Think,
public topic.
Leaf blowers are a thing that were invented in 1962 and not.
Yeah, the long, yeah, okay, you gonna reinforce that? All right, so this is the grant 10.3, new business? Is that what this is?
Wait, which one?
So this is a discussion item, which I would like the board to give us direction on. It's a fairly simple matter. If I could just frame it for Phil, there's a lot I don't understand about the specifics of your programming, but in general terms, when we got the first $25,000 for the family and youth services grant through Pat Carroll's office, I just started with Zabrowski. And the village board wanted to see sports. We went to the YMCA, and the YMCA provided an open run basketball in the park and some other basketball programming, which was great and very well received. They provided zero tuition to a bunch of NIAC kids to participate in those things. And then we got another $30,000 grant. And the mayor and I talked about it. We decided we'd have the YMCA pitch us a proposal to continue doing open free tuition sports to the NIAC kids. And that's what Phil is here to talk a little bit about. The sports involved include, actually, why don't you take over?
All
Phil,
right,
so you-
I'm just gonna say, it's 9:25. Everything has to move at double time right now, okay? This is we put a lot onto one meeting. So Phil, I'm not gonna rush you on your substance, but what do you want from us and how do we do it?
We put together a proposal for youth sports scholarships and to continue the open run basketball program. We were gonna dedicate $15,000 to that, and then we were gonna dedicate $15,000 to aquatic programming for village residents.
And this is the use of the $30,000 grant that you got from the state,
That the village
Yes.
did, yes.
that the village got from the state and is applying to this.
This is not connected to the other part where it was like Night Center was involved with their like youth something.
Not
That's the
this
cannabis
is for
money.
the cannabis money. We've been convening a youth forum.
Okay.
That, what you're describing is the cannabis money, the idea of we're gonna,
No. I was thinking more about when that first grant came through, didn't part of it go to the Night Center?
yes, for the.
Yeah, that goes back to the very, very first one.
Oh, okay,
Part of
so
it went
this
to
is-
the ambassadors.
This is a new one,
This is the new, okay,
Had
right.
two-
or it's an old one that never got used, so this is getting used now.
Alright, makes sense too.
Okay, so you're asking us whether we approve this, whether it's a good idea?
Yes.
I think
Yeah,
it's a good idea, of course it's a good idea, sure, it's a great idea.
I learned how to swim at the Y, kind of.
I need to hear those stories.
Also, most
This is for village, this is for
Village
village residents only, yeah, it can only be used for village residents, okay, good. All right, do you need anything from us right now, or just,
Just to go ahead to have an agreement with the Y, because you have some time frame urgency, right? To get going on the new program.
Yeah, we start up swim lessons, well, we started up in September, and then we're gonna be starting up again in end of December. They're I believe 15 week programs.
Sorry, Joe, I know you wanna
Get the
finish.
kids
I just-
Started in a sequential,
you have,
in a time that
you
makes
have
sense.
carte blanche.
Yeah, I just have one question. A while ago when I was young, actually, the Y used to let people use their library cards to go and swim, and that's also like what I did in my youth. Could any funds for this be used in that manner, or is that like something separate?
It's for village residents.
Okay,
Yes, we could work something out, but
It's just a thought, yeah.
the background checks the world is different.
oh, got you, that makes sense.
Library cards will not get you into the mindset.
Okay, never mind, makes sense, okay,
Okay.
that's all, thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Phil. Sorry to make you wait through.
Yeah.
I would have put you in front of the public hearings.
No,
I know, I didn't,
That's-
I didn't see you come in.
I have nothing to do with this.
I didn't see you walk in. I didn't know that you were on the agenda. All right,
June 24th, our gala, hopefully you see you guys there.
yes, I think I've got a ticket.
Thank you.
I got a ticket. 7.1, resolution 25-168, accepting the audited vouchers summary. Can I get on the table?
Motion,
Second.
Any comments?
no.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. 7.2, 2025-169, to rescind the resolution approving contract replacement of windows. Can I get this on the table?
Motion,
Second.
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
wait, there was a conflict of interest with this, that's why we're rescinding
Yes,
it?
there was a conflict of interest.
Okay, got it,
So we're rescinding it.
okay,
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
aye,
Motion carries unanimously. Resolution installing a handicap parking space on Gale Drive, 2025-170. Can I get on the table?
motion,
Second.
Any comments or questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Enjoy your space. 7.4, resolution 2025-171, approving installation of 2 additional streetlights on Sixth Avenue. Can I get this on the table?
Motion.
second,
I want to congratulate, this is wonderful to get the quick work on
I was
this.
gonna
This
say-
came up at our last meeting, and we're already here with a resolution.
it's gonna be very bright, I love it, thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye,
Motion carries unanimously. 2025-172, approving a permit from DJ Morgana for music event on Sunday, October 12th. This coming Sunday during the street fair. Can I get on the table?
motion,
Second.
You'll note that the time is restricted to 3 to 6 PM, and she has been instructed on the sound issues. We're not gonna get more complaints.
Can't guarantee that.
All right, well, we're gonna limit complaints.
Hey,
All right, so tell her to be responsive. If someone complains, turn it down.
It'll be very rainy on Sunday.
Yeah, it's not gonna.
Oh, that's right, it's not gonna happen anyway. All right, well, in the interest of theoretically having a meeting if that storm turns out into the sea, all in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Sorry about the rain. Gonna be a tough day for
By
the
the
street fair.
way, just a quick note. Perhaps the village should invest in a calibrated sound meter. They're not that expensive and we could use that to, no, that's not calibrated. You have to have it calibrated against.
We actually, the code does not require us to measure the sound. It's literally can be done in the, if there's some subjective standard that is used about whether it sounds too much.
If you hear it 50 feet away.
No, it's even like if the noise is making it, this is a disturbance issue, but let's look at it. If we can get it, we can get it. I have no problem with getting one.
It has both alternative. I think there's the one that you're saying.
There's one that's very subjective, like, hey, it's too loud, turn it down.
Then there's the
Are you
one
gonna-
that has an actual calibrated
Calibrated.
decibel.
The problem is, the problem is we need a code enforcement officer to operate it, and it's like they don't work at the time when it's usually have sound problems.
Two in the morning.
guys that are down at the park, it's cute, they see the app on their phone.
Well,
And
yeah,
then DJ Morgana.
but we don't have anybody at DJ Morgana, like, there's nobody monitoring her anyway.
Oh, I assume that whoever's patrolling the park, I
We
didn't
don't
realize.
have a park ranger.
Well, I thought we had the security guys.
They'll be around.
To be wrong.
Oh.
They could theoretically do it, but they're not supposed to
Their hours.
issue violations anyway, but they could say, turn it down, they could do that.
Yeah,
In the interest
Absolutely, yeah.
of being good neighbors.
Sounds for future.
All right.
times, Whatever. Yeah.
7.6, resolution 2025-173 about the Memorial Park Shoreline Pathway. Can I get it on the table?
Motion.
Second,
All right, let's talk about this for a minute.
This is very simply paperwork for our shoreline path project. Wherein the village board agrees that this project does not require an environmental impact review because it's just fixing something that's already there.
Okay,
It's for
that's all I'm saying.
it's exempt from secret?
right,
Okay.
it's type 2 action.
All right, any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. It's a long resolution for a short discussion. 7.7, resolution 25-174 to approve appointments to the Quarter Millennial Anniversary Committee. Can I get this on the table?
Motion,
Second.
I think that, Joe, you picked a very, very worthy group of people. So good luck with it. Any comments you want to make on it?
oh,
So,
good.
I just want to say that, I chose people that really have expertise in their fields and connections to the various other NIAC boards. And I think that we will work well together. And that's basically it. Hopefully we'll start meeting in November. We'll create I have ideas about, I'm looking at a 2-day event on July 3rd and July 4th. And with the fireworks on July 3rd. We're looking to extend the fireworks show and raise money for that, but apparently one of the limiting factors is the size of the barge that we're gonna be.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, so.
Well, there's so many fireworks on at one time.
That's right, that's right.
Can
So
we
that's,
get more
I never realized that,
information?
but we're gonna figure this out. Andy's going to help figure this out.
Sorry, I
Joe?
was distracted.
Fireworks, a number of longer fireworks.
On the barge, you know, that's the limiting factor.
Joe, my recommendation to you is check to see, if anyone in Rockland County is dealing with the state, 250 committee, because there may be some funds available.
Yeah,
but we may be able to-
Jen in this area would be the person to talk.
Yeah,
about.
I heard that, and we've been trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Anne Marie, Sylvia.
I know someone in Westchester who I've did Constance Kehoe, I've been dealing with.
Okay,
I could poke her brain to see if she has any questions or any suggestions.
that would be great.
And then also, just for being annoying, it is semi-quincentennial. That's the 250,
Oh,
not
God.
not quarter millennial.
There are so many different
Ways to describe it.
versions of it. I think the quarter
Yeah, it's
millennial,
called a sesquicentennial, but I like semi-quincentennial.
yeah, the
So,
quarter millennial rolls off the tongue a lot easier.
Oh, my God.
I'm
It's the 250th anniversary. That's all we're saying.
not to be
All right.
seen.
All in favor of the slate?
I
Aye, motion carries unanimously. 2025-175 to approve a permit application for girls' flag football practice. Can I get on the table?
motion.
Second,
Let's remind ourselves, this is for an hour and 15 minutes for like 7 days for about 10 girls. That's why we're allowing it, because it's a very minor impact on the park. You know, we believe in physical fitness.
I want to see the 45 and up crew playing flag football, but yeah.
Listen, you want to set up let's play Upper Nyack. I'll afford that. Let's get a flag football game against Upper Nyack.
and
Kick their ass.
little girls don't weigh that much, so I don't see.
Well, it's us. We wouldn't play the girls team. I'm not suggesting we play the 7-8. Oh, yeah, I'm totally kicking the 7-8.
Yeah, no.
I'm hoping they're going down.
You gotta learn how to lose and win.
I was actually referencing that in terms of the impact on the lawn.
On the lawn, the picnic lawn for this is very limited because they're younger.
Yeah, not worried.
All right, and any other comments or questions?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Resolution approving 2025-176, approving a publication of a competitive bid for the construction of drainage improvements on High Avenue. Can I get this on the table?
Motion.
Second,
Any comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Resolution 2025-177, to change the date of the trustees annual meeting, the first Monday of December, which is the subject of our public hearing. Can I get on the table?
motion.
Second.
Any further comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dennis, you got your date. Motion carries unanimously. 7-Eleven, resolution 25, we're gonna table that one, table it. That's 25-178. Do I need to make a motion to table or just can table? Do I need a motion to table it?
Which one,
Whatever,
Yeah.
table
Yeah.
resolution. Can I get a motion to table it?
Motion.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
It's tabled. Alright, 7.12, resolution 25-179, approve a permit for Morgana for a street closure for the Spirit of South Broadway event on October 17th. Can I get this on the table?
Motion.
second,
Any comments or questions?
This is not the same Morgana.
It's definitely the same Morgana.
There are two Morganas.
No, these are different Morganas?
One of them is a DJ and one of them runs the Modern Druid store.
They're not the same person.
Okay.
This whole time, I know they're the same person.
It took me a little while to,
So did I.
yeah.
Things we learned.
The only one Modern Druid's name is Morgana Brennan.
Oh, my lord. Oh, my gosh. I'm so glad. I never walked into the Modern Druid and said, hey, I liked your DJ at the thing. I didn't say that. I'm
And now
glad.
you never.
It totally made sense that she could be a DJ. She has total DJ vibe.
Right.
I
them
I
be
was-
Mike Druid
I
were
wonder
gonna.
why I didn't say DJ in front of her name.
This is very useful if they were on the same thing, so now I know that.
Yeah.
All right, any comments or questions?
None.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. 7.13, resolution to authorize the creation, this is 25-180 of associate justice clerk within the justice court. Can I get this on the table?
Motion.
Second.
This is really just a name change.
Yeah, I thought we had, allocation for two.
We have the title of assistant court clerk. We don't have the title of associate court clerk. The list for associate is preferable from a hiring perspective. So the court needs an assistant to the court clerk. And it doesn't matter in practical terms whether that person is called an associate or an assistant. But it matters a lot from a hiring perspective as to how we're able to get the best candidate.
All right,
And it's all within the budget. We do have a funds.
We're not changing the budget at all. The
Okay.
money is already allocated for one
so
sector.
this civil service naming stuff.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
Tomato, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Tomato indeed. All right, 7.14, resolution 25-181, approving the appointment of Kate. I don't know how to pronounce it, Begin? It's not an L, it's an L, it is an L, yeah, it's not an I, it's an L. To the planning board to complete the unexpired term of Matthew. I'm not gonna try to pronounce his last name. Can I get on the table?
Lucas. Motion.
Second.
Any comments or questions? I've met with Kate, she's very smart, very involved, she'll be a great planning board member. We also have an opportunity for an alternate, because we're an alternate's leaving. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. All right, that's our resolutions, department reports. Orangetown, we have to reach out to them about, we gotta talk to them about this biking stuff and about the bikes and motorcycles and everything like that. We didn't bring it up the last time we met with them, but we gotta bring it up to them. About addressing that, because that's definitely a police matter. Anything else that came out of the police, anything recent that we've had? I can't think of anything.
I don't think I have anything to report on that.
Okay.
Just a question, about the police. Can they come, and do a present or talk to them at a village board meeting? I know that you guys meet separately with them, but can they come? With, I have questions, I'm sure other trustees have questions to
You
them.
have questions.
I think what we should do is if we have questions, we should arrange for you to meet with them 2-on-1, 1-on-1. They don't like coming out in public and taking questions in public. They just don't like doing that too, because the people that would come out aren't policymaking people, so they wouldn't have any authority to be able to do anything, so. We will set up, if you'd like, we will set up a sit down with them. But we can't have more than 2 trustees at a time, but we can set up 2 trustees at a time to ask questions and things like that. Because what would happen, here's what would happen. You'd bring in Detective Sergeant Parizolo. He would come, you'd ask him a question, he says, well, I have to go back to the chief about that. And then you ask something sudden, and you say, well, you ask him about it, I think that's an ongoing investigation, like.
Things, and he hasn't actually said any of that. He's usually just,
He doesn't usually say anything substantive, though. You have substantive questions for him. With that said, we will invite him to come to a meeting.
I'd like to see Chief Butler.
And ask him to come to a meeting to talk about, and if they want to make a presentation, they want to talk about stuff. But I think it'd be great for you all to have a sit down either with him or.
yeah, I'd be happy to. My questions are more about like community engagement more than anything, which I didn't really think would be something they wouldn't want to talk about.
It's just that the problem is he doesn't make decisions.
Yeah.
He's relaying community, he'll produce a community piece, like, hey, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But if he takes questions, if they get into anything substantive,
Right.
he's got to go back to the chief with them. That's
Well,
what
can we
he
meet
gets
with the-
frustrated with that.
Can we meet with the chief?
We'll talk to him, we'll ask him, sure.
Alright.
I mean, when you meet outside of a public meeting, it's a little bit easier for them to talk. They just don't want to say anything in a public meeting that might come back to bite them. But I think that's, Andy, let's get on the agenda to bring it up to them that
Sure.
rather than having their monthly meeting with us, they could meet with 2 of the other trustees to ask questions and stuff like that. And they could go up to Orangetown to
absolutely.
sit down. for
Yeah.
an hour.
I'll go find nothing.
All right.
I guess we'll see when we're both available.
Yeah.
And then if these 2 want to do, we can set up for the 2 of them as well. Village administrator report.
A couple things, I know you're in a hurry. Um. Thrilled that Esther White is now running our court clerk office. She's wonderful. She's doing a great job.
Good.
I think the Trade and Prosper event this past weekend was wonderful. So I want to congratulate all involved with that. Made good progress on our sidewalk project on the north side. We did get another grant from the state to do more work on the shoreline of the Memorial Park. And there'll be more information about that as we get into the design process.
Another grant?
This was the one that was announced that we found out publicly from
Pat
Carroll.
Oh,
We
that's.
still haven't got an official word on it.
That's
us.
That,
I mean, that doesn't surprise
that's
me.
the riprap on the inlet, right?
Yes,
Has nothing to do with it.
the inlet.
It's inlet work,
shoreline.
it's infrastructure work.
I'm assuming you would get the award letter from DEC?
We just had the notification. We don't have award letters or anything else yet.
No, but I'm saying did in the notification, did it say where like who was distributing the funds or?
I haven't gotten a letter yet. Yeah.
No, well, whatever notice you did get, that's more what I meant, like whatever Pat put out.
It was literally just like 2 sentences.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
So, but yeah, we're excited about it and looking forward to working on that.
Can we use some of that money also for the shore, for other, because it is part of.
That's one of the questions that we have is, because it's actually a really sizable grant.
Right.
And we may want to see if we can push some of that money across the inlet to work on the shoreline path project, bring it up a little bit towards where the food trucks are. Which might not fit within the current scope of the shoreline path budget wise. So we're gonna finagle a little bit and see how best to use that money.
Finagle with the best.
I'll leave it at that unless you want me to keep on with more highlights.
I think that's brilliant of you to leave them wanting more, Andy. Leave them wanting more. With that said, Linda, do you have a village clerk report? God bless you. All right, old business. I'm gonna use my plenary powers of agenda setting to carry over old business to the next meeting, where we'll get an update on the rats. And do you have an update that you prepared, or you want to talk about it, or you want to?
Oh my God, stop.
But 250.
We just talked about it.
We're just talking about it. That's what I figured. But I didn't want to, he had like something prepared. I didn't want to, because he's been working on this, so I don't want to. So take it to the next meeting. Next meeting.
No, you don't have to take it, it's not, we've done it.
Well, it's all, well, I thought there was something else you wanted to talk about. with
Good,
regard to-
move on.
All right, new business, Nyack Outdoor Fitness Park. Joe, this was, something came out of you, or was it Andy? I know
We're
you.
working on it together.
Okay,
A village resident asked us to look at this. We're looking at it. All I'm looking at from, all that I can get from this board is if you're interested conceptually, we'll come back with a more detailed plan. And give that to you for consideration.
okay.
We actually have a fairly detailed plan put together, but I haven't had a chance to give it to you yet.
I think we're all in favor of, well, it's like getting a dessert menu. We'll definitely look at it. You always look.
Just so you know, the cost is probably roughly around $15,000 for the equipment. This is small. Another 15 for surfacing underneath it.
My only concern about, well, we can talk about it, is just, do people actually use it? I don't know. I see them all the time in parks, and they seem to not be used all that much.
Yeah, I feel like we have so many people who do like personal trainers use the parks, and like we always have like what Donna I think does Tai Chi down at the park. So
All right.
I mean it might be used. I have to
We gotta find a space for
find
this thing.
the
Yeah.
concept. So I do want to see what the equipment looks like. Like we should probably make sure it's
It's in
equipment that people
the,
actually
it's in
use.
the package.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
done. Like where you
Memo, there's
actually.
photos of the equipment.
It's for- yeah.
that Anne Marie and I were thinking might make sense, and the village resident who started us thinking about it. Has specific ideas about equipment as well.
That's also something else out of the 80s, but I
All right, so we'll definitely look at it. So let's have a further conversation, get a plan, get a memo plan
And
together.
whatever you look at, we have to think about liability.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
And maintenance, and ADA accessibility.
As soon as you put that thing up, I'm gonna strain my back and sue a lot of you. Some types, listen, there's an old saying in the law. Some types of back pain are very difficult to disprove. So that's what you gotta remember that. It's very tough to disprove that I didn't hurt my back. My back hurts.
Hey, I
Listen,
walked,
LeBron James is out for sciatica. You can sprain your back.
Yeah, all right.
hey, I walked into the fire hydrant outside of Torello. And I had, for 6 weeks, I was walking with a cane.
Oh, that hurts. Yeah,
And
that's
I've
bad.
been asking them. to
Just
put a-
remember, he started with I walked into.
The fire hydrant didn't move.
He's not accusing the fire hydrant
it was totally my fault.
Running into his place, yes.
Oh, no, I heard liability and I was like, now, wait a minute. Let's be
He
real.
says it's in a bad place, it should be marked a little better, is what he's saying, right?
Should be a flag over there, like keep on asking the flag.
A flashing light, that work?
No, just a flag, I keep on asking the water department and I don't know. It's the next
Put
person.
those up in the winter time when the snow gets a little too.
So let's go forward with the outdoor fitness park. 10.2, I do want to talk about this with the remaining time we have. I don't want to give us enough time to talk about it.
Oh.
But it may not be a long discussion, but I think we're generally in favor of it.
Yes.
The idea is this, we have the cannabis money, we said half the cannabis money was gonna go toward addressing issues that emanate from drug abuse and other social ills that come out of that, because that's appropriate way to use cannabis tax money. We are at some point gonna get a report back from the Nyack Center and some other groups, the YMCA, that are looking at ways in which we can implement a recreational sports for kids, which get kids, give them something to do after school. But I think it's really worthwhile for us to use some of that money to hire at least a part-time social work contract, get someone as a contractor to come in, do social work for us. The experience of dealing with the families from the fire has really driven home the idea that we need someone in that role, that, you know, Don has picked up a lot of it, you've picked up a lot of it, I've picked up a lot of it.
That's more than I have.
And, you know, obviously, we've relied on the bishop and Nikki Hines and people to step up who are working on nonprofits, but that to some extent was something the village could have coordinated if we had someone who is good at that, that's their job. So let's get somebody in that role and if we want to go forward, we'll get a resolution in place to separate out, let's figure out where we can fit in the civil service or whether we're gonna hire somebody on the outside. We're good to have that conversation?
Yeah, I'm good with that. And I'm also just thinking, not even just the fire, just like some of the regular stuff, like.
Yeah, people calling with
Yeah.
tenant issues.
Yeah,
and stuff all the
just like
time.
all that catch-all stuff, and then even that's probably someone who can work with youth and recreation on like why sports is better than doing drugs or something, I don't know, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it also. I just suggest that maybe we could reach out. We have a really good social worker that lives in the village. He works for Lenny Bloomfield. Maybe we can talk to him about maybe.
No, I don't disagree with you, but I think we also have to go by like civil service and stuff, so I wouldn't wanna just say like one person.
The board would need to decide on a scope of responsibilities for this position, because it's pretty diverse. And then we have to find the right way of doing it. One way of doing it is to go for a new civil service title in the village roster, add to the union contract, et cetera. Another approach would be to get a contract with a social work agency that could provide
for recovery
those services that does the outreach, which is the one I prefer, because we can try them out and see how it works out.
Yeah, we don't have to commit time. What if can we find out who would be the candidate organizations that would?
Right, that's where we start talking.
Why don't we start with that, and if we don't find something that we think is acceptable, then we'll look at the opportunity to do social service.
We may find an individual, someone at MSW who's a great match, who's just simply an independent contractor and is not working with an agency per se.
Okay.
I think we need to play the field a little bit and see what kind of talent we've got. I think there's some really talented people around here to help out.
I don't disagree. I would also suggest reaching out to Dominicans if they have a social work program, so they probably are looped in on also who, not just the agencies, but who is sort of as you described, someone just independent.
Right.
Yeah.
How much money are we allocating for this?
But I don't think we've decided yet.
We haven't decided yet. I mean, it's part-time. I would think 30,000. I sort of think about whatever we allocate toward, pardon
No, go ahead.
me? That's too much or too little?
I think that's too little.
I don't know what the social workers
For
meant.
an MSW, oh my god, you need
I don't know.
way more.
I don't
But
know.
part.
But it's also part-time.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
part-time, so.
But I mean, I don't mind the idea of equating it to whatever we're paying for the safety patrol. Because I like the idea that those are the two sides, that there's one side which is a little bit more related to law enforcement and this one's a little more related toward, you know, that's a balance. And we balance them with the same amount of money, we're sending a message, which is sort of the message that I think a lot of people have tried to make, which is that the needs of the community are equally served by law enforcement and by social work, and you can't just put the money into one side or the other. And both sides should get funded and be funded adequately to the services that are needed.
Oh, I don't disagree with that, I'm wondering.
Master's degree, I don't know if the security officers
Well, I mean, but we also might have more hours for the, I mean, we might, yeah, they might work 35, 40 hours. a week.
From a budget perspective.
If
From a
we're gonna
budget
have
perspective,
like a
not-
sort of team of three, I
Not
would say
solid
if it's
budget
prudent to create like a department for them, that way they're just all operating under the same sort of thing. Or is that, oh, well, they're private security, so never mind.
You know, they're right now,
I forgot their contract.
Yeah, they're all contractors at this point. We're considering, because the idea is that you don't necessarily want to, we don't necessarily want to create a position that then we now have a full-time person that, you know, covered under union contracts and everything like that, if we're not certain that this is a role that's gonna stick in the way that it's being drafted.
Yeah, no, that's
But we
fine.
can try it out, and then we can always say, this is working out really well, but we want someone full-time.
Yeah.
We want someone in-house, we want someone here 24/7, well, not 24/7, that's not, that wouldn't be the part, but we want someone who's in a full-time role. Yeah, in the village.
Can we have the two guys of the safety patrol, can they come before the board, just to introduce themselves and
I know we had talked about, my texts were weird, but I was in California when we were texting, so,
Yeah, why don't we just do that next meeting, cause
Yeah.
their hours, what is it, it's 5 to 8 on weekdays anyway, so.
well, they could come here.
Just have to pop in.
They kind of pop in during their rounds.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I actually ran out when I saw them walking and I.
Were there two of them? Two of them walking at the same time?
Well, no, they were kind of like doing the initial.
Okay.
Mike and Anthony.
Okay, good.
Okay, cool.
All right, any other comments about that? All right, communications, we got some sort of thank you letter from Grand Fondo, New York. For allowing them to bike through our
is
neighborhoods.
that a
Yeah.
plaque I saw?
Yes, it
is.
We have a plan.
And do
Present it to the board. Even
don't underestimate
Thank you.
what a big deal this is. Like, read that letter. It's really pretty amazing. The amount of work that goes to that race, how important it is internationally. The number of people coming through Nyack who are in that race or supporting it. And the amount of work that goes into it all up and down the line between Detroit Western Bridge and Bear Mountain. It's kind of an extraordinary event.
I promise to read the
And
letter.
also just mention, you do have a new bike shop in town, which is
We do.
exciting.
Thank God.
And those guys are running regular rides out of there. You see groups coming and meeting there and leaving. And it's just kind of exciting to see.
I gotta remember, we have to highlight these new businesses in the newsletter we put out every Monday. I keep forgetting to do it. I wanna highlight the bread place, the new bike place. There's a shop down on South Broadway that I wanna mention. That we should make sure that we're, you know, promoting the new businesses to the community.
This is really
But
nice. I'm gonna wake up one morning and
place-
really watch this race the next time it happens. I promise.
On the bread
day.
bread place, just be careful because by the 12 o'clock, there's no more bread there. Right?
Oh my God.
Well,
was
they should
crazy.
make more bread. That's what you do.
That guy is constantly, I walk by at 10 o'clock at night, he is like in the back, they're eating bread.
Yeah, those sourdough takes a while to,
I-
it seems like a 3-day
Cheese rolls,
process.
I've heard, that. Yeah, I've not had them. They
Oh
are.
no, those bacon sourdoughs.
All right, now I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna go home. Any, do we have anything else on the agenda?
Damn.
No, anybody for public comment? Nope, seeing nobody here. We don't have an executive session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We are adjourned at
52.
unreasonable period of 9:52.
Listen.
It's pretty good. Terrible.
No, it's very screwy.